What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pete Shop Makes. I'm, of course, your host, Peter Giammona. This week, something a little bit different. First off, as you can see, we're not in the shop. We are up in my office. And secondly, I'm on a podcast. My brother recently just started one up, and he invited me to come along. This will be his third episode, and we just break down life and get into some of the struggles I had in my past. And just a quick disclaimer, this might not necessarily be for everybody. We do touch on some sensitive subjects, and there's a bit of crude humor and crude language, things like that. So if this, isn't necessarily something that you'd be interested in, then I advise you to go ahead and click off now. Otherwise, really hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's go ahead and get into the podcast.
Yeah, cool. So what's up, man?
Not much.
Did you have a hard time fighting through all the homeless people on the way in?
Actually, no. Only one getting off the freeway there, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty rough around here. They, I heard a statistic that I think it's like one a day dies. Like one homeless person a day dies in Sacramento.
In Sacramento?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's like 3 a day in LA.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So I guess the city has funds to figure to pay for stuff, but they don't know what to do.
Is it just health issues or drug overdose or what?
It's a lot. Oh, like them dying?
Yeah. Like, what's the
it's probably
cause?
just them being homeless and not, but yeah, like a lot of it's obviously like mental health, and then there is drugs and stuff. But I don't know. They're, I don't want to say they're like super respectful, but they don't really fuck with you or anything like that.
No, I mean, there's, panhandling or whatever, but I mean, that's not.
Yeah, no, they're not like super, super aggressive. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So every time I do one of these, I'm like, oh, I should at least have an opening question, but I don't really.
I asked you.
I'm not hungover, but we had like a late night and we had an impromptu party at our house last night. So the girls went to Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
And they sat in a box. We have some friends that have a friend that owns a box.
Where at?
At Golden One.
Oh, okay.
So they did that, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I get like a couple hours free.
Mm-hmm.
And I just cleaned the house. It was I made chicken wings. We got an air fryer.
Yeah.
And I never used it before. So I was like trying to figure out how to use the air fryer and clean the house. And then they didn't turn out too bad, but the first batch was burnt, but they're still pretty good. So
you just were so just in the zone cleaning. You fucking
yeah. Well, then she was like, hey, these people are coming over. And then these people are coming over. And then like the neighbors were already coming over. And it was just like, fuck, man. Now we're gonna have like 6 people, like 7 kids in the house.
So Katie didn't take the kids in. They went with
No, she did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She took them. It was like a girls thing. And then she's like, oh, they only have enough tickets for us. And I was like, yeah, I'm not fucking going to Disney on Ice. But yeah, I just like got wrapped up in cleaning, which really kind of tends to happen. You're a pretty clean person too, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, it's more of like kind of an obsessive, like more of a germaphobe than necessarily like clutter. Like I have way too much shit. I obviously need to like purge and just get rid of a bunch of things, but it's more, like germs and shit that really bug me. Like just making sure like my bathroom is fucking clean and like, like, I don't know. Do you kind of anal about that?
Well, that's like a pretty good thing to be clean.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, but I mean, like if you were to come and like look, in my garage or, shit like that, I mean, obviously there's, an abundance of shit. But,
yeah, for sure. We did the same thing. Like I opened a closet today and I was like, God damn it. Really? Like this is fucking stupid. Were you always like aware of germophobia, or is it just something that kind of just happened one day?
I think, I don't know. Growing up and just living with other people and then, I think living with other people kind of makes you more aware of just like, you don't want to be a total slob and just, leaving your germs and shit everywhere. But I don't know. I think it's more, it's not like I'm health conscious or worried about getting sick or anything like that. But I think it's just more, just kind of a common courtesy. I don't know.
That's, that's one thing like I get. So like when I start getting like overwhelmed at home,
Yeah.
I'll just start cleaning.
Right.
And I don't know what it is. Like I've been talking to my therapist who I just broke up with him.
Oh.
He was pretty lame. He was like 85.
Oh. Fuck.
And then just kind of, oh, well, maybe it's, what's that?
Well, like you guys like weren't like on the same level
No,
just
not
because as
at
far
all.
as like, yeah.
Yeah. And like,
age.
I was talking to him. He's like, well, maybe your wife is the one. I'm like, no, bro. Like, I'm the fucking problem. Like, she's not the problem. I am. And, yeah, he'd be like,
well, at least you guys got that out there.
yeah. He'd be like, maybe she's just too hard on you. I'm like, no, man, like it's all me. But like, that's what I'll just start cleaning. And it's like, it's just that crazy spiral type thing. And I don't know if I was talking to him about this. I just broke up with him the other day.
How'd he take it?
I left him a voicemail. I was like, hey man, I can't come in.
Couldn't even do it in person.
No, I was like, I can't come in this week. And then I'm also just going to be exploring other options. And I haven't heard from him. So,
well.
but I feel like he was like
No news.
kind of like getting ready to retire too. He was
so
pretty
he's
nonchalant.
checked out, basically.
Yeah. Like the sessions were an hour. And then the last one was like 50 minutes. And he'd be like, all right, so that's our time. I'm like, what? $20.
What makes you feel, or what did you guys like discover that made you feel like you're the problem in the relationship?
Oh, because I am.
Oh,
like
I know.
Oh,
like
I don't know, because it wasn't always. I feel like I'm getting better. I'm more aware of it now, but the whole cleaning thing, I didn't talk to him about this. I just kind of realized it the other day when I was like, I wonder if that comes from living in kind of a messy house. Like our
Growing
house.
up?
Yeah. Like it
Yeah.
was never like trashed,
No.
but it wasn't uncommon for dishes to be in the sink for like days at a time.
And honestly, yeah, I get that too. I think it's just from I didn't like living like that, not necessarily. I mean, like you said, yeah, it wasn't like we were, living in a pigsty, but yeah, just, dad wasn't the super cleanliest guy, and so like, I don't know, just those kind of habits I didn't want to carry on or whatever. But so like, what specifically like is like what do you bring to it that you feel is your biggest issue, like to your relationship? Like, why do you think
I'll just go from like 0 to 60?
Oh, okay.
Not like flipping out, screaming, shit like that, but it's just like that kind of like, fuck, panicky.
Get like frustrated easily or like irritated easily?
Yeah, more the irritation easily. But it's like, it sucks because it's like our house is always kind of fucking crazy.
Well, you have two little girls. Yeah.
A 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're just nuts.
Right.
Like they're rad, they're hilarious. But like when I left, they were both like hangry.
Okay.
So they were eating and they were fine, but like 5 minutes before I left, they were both screaming. And I was like, I gotta go soon.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I think too, there's a lot of, I don't want to say like PTSD is like a legit serious thing. But I think after I left the trucking company, there's a lot of like, I have like residual. It's almost like I took that responsibility and the pressures of that job, left, and then just carried them over to like home.
So
it's a weird thing. It's not.
You were projecting your issues from work on your home life, you mean? Like,
yeah, but then when I left, like I took all the pressures, was like, oh fuck, that's off my back.
Yeah, but
it's still like, it still triggers me in a weird way. So, but I don't know.
So how does Katie handle those situations? Like today, like when you had to leave and the kids are screaming, is she just like, whatever, like go? Or is it just like, like I need help, like I need you to stay or whatever?
No, I mean, she knew I was doing this.
Right.
Like I've already let her know, like, hey, this is the schedule for the next 2. But I mean, she wasn't pumped. But like they were fine. They were just hanging out, like eating. But yeah, they're both just like in the last couple days, like Ruby's gotten a lot nicer, but she's also more like just kind of moody. Like today, she kicked me. She's like, I'm hungry, and just kicked me. I'm like, no, dude, like, don't fucking kick me. And then Emily is just like, I think she's teething, but she doesn't know she's teething. And like, I think she's probably going through a growth spurt too.
Yeah.
So they're just like all out of whack.
Yeah, I didn't realize like kids like going through like growth spurts, like I guess it's painful like when you're little.
Yeah.
Like I didn't, growing up you're too little to really, remember that or know that. But yeah.
Well, they call them growing pains.
Or yeah, that's what I mean. But I
think it's
really
just
know.
like
I thought that was just a term,
No, because she'll ask us to like rub her legs and like before bed. I think it's just calms her down. But then like at the same time too, like I think it is growing pains. So
yeah, I always thought that it was just like a term for like having to deal with little children, like,
yeah. So,
and a show.
Yeah. Great show. You remember there was was it that show? There was the character named Boner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Growing Pains?
Yeah.
What a fucking, like, nobody caught that. Nobody caught that. Like, and then we're going to have a character named Boner.
Yeah.
All right. When's this going to air? Friday nights.
Perfect.
At 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but you've had kind of a crazy past.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think nowadays it's more common, I think. I don't know. But yeah, like, I mean, what are you referring to? Drugs or addiction or what? I mean,
all of it. I mean, I find like the whole addiction thing is really interesting to me. I don't know. Because like going back to the trucking company, that's when I realized like, okay, this has to end. Because it was like, this is so bad for me. I know it's bad for me. It's not good. Like I'm dying, but I'm so in love with it. And I can't think of like not doing it. That's like the closest I've come to like feeling addicted to something.
Like, what were you in love with? Just because it like
the rush, the puzzle, the how the fuck are we going to do that?
Yeah.
And then like nailing it. And then just like, that all of a sudden you're like, oh, I just worked a fucking 12-hour day.
Right. And you
didn't even notice
right.
it. And I haven't eaten lunch in like 4 days. But I don't know if that's just me looking too far into things, but that's kind of like, for me, that's addiction, right? Where it's super bad for you, but you can't stop because you love it.
Well, yeah.
In other ways.
I mean, for me, it was just, I couldn't stop because like I was physically addicted, like my body, like, or else I would get sick, dope sick basically. But yeah, I mean, it is too, I've heard of a lot of people not only like being addicted just to the drugs themselves, but like, and not for me personally, but I've heard other people say like just the ritual of getting high, like, whatever it was, whatever they did, snorting it, whatever, crushing it up or putting it in a spoon and cooking it or whatever that was, like that was more of a high for them sometimes than actually, injecting the drugs or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, I basically I wouldn't say right out of high school, but in high school, just started smoking weed, drinking, partying, a lot of kids these days. But back in the early 2000s, that was kind of like the beginning of OxyContin was becoming really big and Vicodin and all that stuff. And then, that just kind of
that was
spiraled.
That was so weird because the people I lived with at the time, like it really took over. I never got into it. I think I've done pills like 3 times and I was like, this sucks. I don't like this at all. I remember one time I took a Xanax because they would just have Xanax like on the counter. And I'm like, oh, what's this thing? And they were like, oh, it just makes you feel kind of fucked up. I'm like, all right. And I took it and then I stood up and it was crazy. Like I felt like I was going to pass out.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're not, tolerant to that stuff or if you've never taken it before, first time. Yeah, that shit'll.
Yeah. It just brought a weird vibe too. Because it went from being like, hey, we're going to party and hang out, blah, 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 to all of a sudden like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why is it 3 a.m. and just this dude showing up here? Like, come on, you guys.
Sketchy.
Yeah. And then you would go to parties and it was just like everybody was fucked up and like, or like you'd see people like
Is this when you were down in LA?
No, this is in Lodi.
Oh, what?
Yeah, when I was living with I don't want to say their names, but like the Carmel Court.
Okay.
That area.
Yeah.
Like, and not everybody was into it, but like the people that were into it, you just saw them like, whoa, dude, this guy went from being like pretty cool and pretty funny to like just
a zombie.
And it's like, oh, now he's just like angry because he can't get pills.
Right.
I remember one time I took this guy, I'm assuming he's still alive. We went to go get like somewhere. We went to 7-Eleven to get, I was getting gas, and he went inside to go get whatever, and he came out and he had stolen a bunch of candy. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, literally, like, I could have given you a $5 bill.
Yeah.
Like, you had to steal candy.
10-year-old?
I like stealing, but I'm not going to like steal from fucking 7-Eleven, especially a bunch of Snickers or something like that. So do you think it really, like when you destroyed your ankle, do you think that was kind of like the gateway or like the?
No, honestly, because I mean, that happened when I was 15. So that was like, I hadn't even smoked weed then.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so like, obviously having surgery on your ankle, they're going to prescribe you, whatever. I think it was just like Norcos or something they were giving me at the time. But that looking back after, progressing and, getting into addiction and knowing what being dope sick was, that looking back, when I had to, get off of those pills when I was 15 or whatever, my ankle healed and I had to quit taking them. I had like severe mood swings. I felt shitty. Like I felt just like almost like a depression come over me. And that was just withdrawals. That was from, and I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know what I was experiencing this. Like I was like, I would just yell at mom and dad or whatever, like stupid shit like that. But looking back, it was like, oh shit, like that was, acute withdrawal symptoms. But, and that's what's kind of fucked up about like, I don't know. I don't want to get into like too many politics about like pharmaceutical companies or, doctors and things like that. But like they know, the severity of the drugs that they're giving you, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And they know that people are going to get addicted and that these medications are addictive. But, to give, I mean, and it wasn't necessarily like a strong, it's not like they were giving me morphine or anything, but, for that long after, like my doctor shouldn't have been giving me probably that high. Like, I could have easily taken ibuprofen 800s or whatever, and been fine. But
ibuprofen 800 is, I think they gave me that when I had my kidney stone thing, when I had them pulverized or whatever they called it. And yeah, I was like, it didn't like fuck me up in any way, but I was like, oh, that like really works.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's non-narcotic. It's just like an anti-inflammatory basic.
They were giving Katie, what did they give her? They gave her Norco or Vicodin.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. When she had her appendix out like 2 weeks ago, and they didn't, like, she was like, I don't even need these. Like, she just flushed them.
Right.
I was like, we could have sold those. What's wrong with you? Like,
yeah.
Live by a high school. Come on, we could have sold those things.
Right.
So. But, and then, I mean, it's kind of, I don't think that weed is a gateway drug, but I guess it kind of, in a way, is.
You're associating with drug dealers at that time. You're buying drugs, and with that come, not everybody just sticks to weed. Somebody's going to start selling pills or whatever, and that's kind of how it progressed. Was just like partying and meeting other people and stuff like that through your friends who also used. And that's kind of like how, like, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm smoking weed and now I'm addicted to heroin. It wasn't like that, but it was, it slowly progressed to that through pills. And then, after high school and then also working at the trucking company and everything and dealing with those stresses and just out there and then getting deeper and deeper into my addiction, it was, pretty quickly, tapping out my resources and running out of money, and the pills were so expensive that it was economical to just switch over to heroin.
Yeah. I mean, if I can't get that, I might as well.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you figure paying $40 per pill of one pill that you have to take five
Jesus
of
Christ.
them a day. So you have a $200 a day habit if you're doing pills, or you can spend $30 on heroin and get just as high all day long. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Why is it so cheap? Why was heroin so cheap? Was it just because it's not like a mass produced thing, but you also can't just make it either.
No, I mean, it I don't know. It comes up from most of it, like here in California, is mostly like Mexico. It comes up from like the black tar heroin. It, stems up from there. But yeah, no, it's mass produced. I mean,
I guess it is.
It grows in fields and
I guess there's a lot of like fentanyl is in a lot of new drugs now.
That's
what I think that guy Paul that I knew that did that movie. I think that's what he relapsed. And I was reading like his dad wrote the obituary, and it was like a tainted
dose.
What do you call it? He worded it really well though. He like a tainted relapse from a tainted dose or something like that. It was actually like a really nice thing that he wrote.
He lived over in the Bay, like Santa Cruz, right? Or
he was in Monterey and Salinas, which I guess it's really bad in Salinas.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, dude, last time I saw that guy, it was like, this is pretty fucked up. Like, this guy's not even cool.
Yeah.
Not to like talk shit about somebody who just died, but like, he was always kind of like a pain in the ass to hang out with.
Just because like his antics and like always trying to be.
And it's like, come on, dude, you're not fucking Bam Margera. Like, and like, I don't know, he was cool, but yeah, there was one time where I feel bad like talking shit about somebody that died like 2 months ago, but like, he came back from he was going to Arizona for something. And then he called us and he's like, hey, I can get like a shitload of weed. Do you want me to bring it back? And we're like, yeah. And then this
is when you were down in LA.
Yeah. And I mentioned it to somebody else and he's like, yo, I'll buy it. Like, tell him to bring it back. And he's like, it's super good weed and blah, blah. The dude didn't smoke weed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he shows back up and it's just like shitty brick weed. And this dude, my friend Bear, had already paid Paul for it. He gave him like $400.
Oh, okay.
And he delivers the weed to him. I'm there. And he goes, go outside, Paul. And Paul walks outside and Bear just goes, I want my money back. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sorry. And he pulled a gun out and he was like, I need my money back. Did
you broker the deal? Like, why was he telling you all this? Why did he make?
Because I was friends with Bear.
Right.
And I think he was so pissed that he didn't want to see Paul.
Okay. But why was he telling you that he wanted his money back?
I don't know. It was weird. The weirdest part though, he pulled a revolver out and it had a blue bandana tied around it, which was kind of where I was like,
throwaway.
Yeah. I was like, huh, that's weird. I didn't know you were a crip. But yeah, I mean,
I met Bear. Bear was cool.
Yeah. Bear was rad. Yeah. So then it just kind of, it just spirals out of control. And
so he was just pulling more stunts like that were just kind of like,
yeah. Then he just kind of
distance yourself.
Yeah. And then everyone was like, whatever. And then he kind of disappeared. Then he called me one time, like 2 or 3 years ago, and he was fucked up. And then he was like, I want you to be a part of a documentary I'm making about myself. And I'm like, no, dude. Like,
didn't you had all of his kill horse footage, right?
No.
Didn't you send it to him to put on YouTube or whatever? Didn't he like lose all of his files or something? And
I don't think so.
Oh, I remember like in one of the comment section on YouTube or something, he's like, thanks Steve for sending me my footage or whatever. Cause like he got all of his footage stolen or he lost it all. I thought you sent him a copy of it or something.
No.
Oh, okay. I remember something about that.
Maybe, I don't know. But I didn't ever had any of that stuff.
No, I know, but just like the finished final copy because he wanted to put it on YouTube, and I don't think he said he.
Yeah, maybe
he wasn't able
to something like that.
Okay.
Or I sent him like some footage that I had or
right.
whatever. But yeah, no, it happens more and more. I guess it's, and like you said too, like the pharmacists know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why they're not getting in trouble because they're bringing in billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, and that's the main thing is just money. Nobody's gonna, turn down billions of dollars, but
no,
and it sucks because it's like, you get, and it's not like, we grew up in a pretty middle class home and everything, decent, childhoods. And I mean, we had everything we wanted or needed, but, addiction definitely doesn't discriminate. That's for sure. I mean, there's lots of kids that had it way better than we did that are, living on the streets now.
Oh,
and
yeah, for
it's like
sure.
just throwing their lives away. And I mean, consider myself lucky enough to be able to, have gone through what I did. And I think I'm better for it now, but, at least to be able to turn things around and come out of that. So, which I think a lot of people, it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
No, it's nuts. Cause you think like there's triggers everywhere.
Yeah. It gets easier over time. I like, they say once an addict, always an addict or whatever, those kind of cliches or whatever, but, it definitely gets easier. Like, when you're in your infancy, as far as, sobriety. Yeah. I mean, like that's all that's on your mind, especially when you're going through like withdrawals. If you're still sick, I mean, that's all you can think about is just getting well, because that's the only thing that feels good. But yeah, as time goes on, like, yeah, it never even like crosses my mind anymore to like want to go and do anything or, something like that.
That one time I had to take you to the methadone clinic.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fucking like grossest place. Just because you're like, this is technically worse than like the drugs that they're doing. Like methadone is like I've heard multiple people say it, like that's worse than actually heroin.
I wouldn't. It's harder to get off of, yeah. But what it does is it lasts longer in your system. So you just need to take that one dose, whatever they give you in the morning or whatever, and it could last you like 2 or 3 days. But which alternatively makes it harder to kick. Mm. But I wouldn't say that it's, any more. I mean, I don't know. I don't know really like all the health effects of it. But like when I went down to rehab down in San Diego, I was obviously coming off of the methadone because we're going through detox and everything. That's what they give you in detox. But so it took me probably like 2 months to actually like feel like normal, like to start eating and sleeping. And like, yeah, it took a long time.
Yeah. Cause doesn't it, I mean, obviously it fucks with your brain, but isn't there like is there long-term effects?
As far as I know, well, I mean, I'm basing, just from like how I feel and from, what I've heard on Joe Rogan podcasts and things like that, like much. Heroin, like there's really no, like as far as opiates go, like real, like long-term, like it doesn't like affect, like meth will destroy and, do all that. It doesn't have that type of effect or anything.
It's a natural.
I mean, it grows on a plant, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously opium does, yes, but there are chemical processes or things that they do to it to turn it into like the morphine or whatever, which is heroin.
Oh, really?
Well, it's acetylmorphine, which is the drug that's in heroin. So when you ingest it, your body turns that into morphine or whatever, or heroin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. You learn something every day.
Yeah. But no, it doesn't, like, I don't feel like, I feel like when I would smoke a ton of weed, like you kind of feel like cloudy the next day or just kind of like you're in like that fog. Like I never had that like with hair. I mean, obviously, when you're high, you're just, out of it or whatever. And obviously people can overdose because like your breathing can stop because you're just so sedated. But no, as far as like, health issues or things like that, I don't.
Huh. Yeah. Cause I mean, if you see someone that's done like a shitload of meth
in
their time, like that person's fucked.
And you could tell like there's total cloud, like their mouth and starts to get all fucking, like, yeah.
It's such a weird like look.
Yeah.
Too.
Well,
like,
and it's very distinctive. Like you can pick somebody out and know that person's, a tweaker.
Or yeah, you see like their nose is like all eaten away and stuff.
Yeah, they just
dude. I saw an interview with Steve-O. That guy's got a lot of like really cool. That guy's completely sober now. It's a really cool story. But he did so much coke that he can put a
deviated septum. Yeah, he's got a hole in his nose. Yeah,
but he can put like
a string.
Yeah, he puts a string through it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, so you weren't really like an NA guy though, right?
No, I mean, when I went down to rehab, I mean, it was it was basically like a church camp, and we just worked there, like in the kitchen and stuff like that. But the main like the roots of the program were AANA based, the 12-step basically. But as far as going to like NAAA meetings outside of that, it never, like, I understand the whole like accountability thing and being accountable to someone and having a, you know, a, a leader or whatever, someone to, talk to when you're, feeling like you're going to use or whatever. I understand all that, but going and sitting in a group and listening to just guys depressing stories, like how he wanted to kill himself today, or, just things like that. And I'm not knocking any of that stuff like that. If that's what gets you sober and that, by all means do it. But for me, it wasn't something that helped me. In fact, it made me feel worse going to like just hear these. It was very depressing.
Huh.
And so,
yeah, because they're not like fun party stories.
No. And it's,
it's not like, oh, you guys will never believe what happened. It's more like, yeah, I like almost sold my child for Coke.
Yeah. Or just, and not only that, I mean, you get people who are addicts and you get people who are alcoholics. And I mean, that's why there's NA and AA, but sometimes they mix or they'll go to the same groups. And yeah, I mean, it's just totally different levels. It's very, I don't know. It's not just cool to hear, especially day in and, day out or however many meetings you go to, because there's meetings every day.
Yeah. Isn't there one every 10 minutes of every day or something?
I guess.
There's some statistic or,
but I mean, but it's like, I get the whole, 12 steps and following those and, making amends and, giving yourself up to a higher power and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, like I said, if that helps you and you're able to stay clean and sober from that, great, do that, but for me personally, just being able to talk or in the beginning, like I said, like being able to talk and, have accountability, especially, living with my girlfriend at the time and being engaged and, having someone in your life who will kind of keep you in check, definitely, helped in the beginning. So yeah, that's kind of what worked for me. And just having a good support system, family and people that love you and care about you and want you to do good. And, like a lot of these guys, like we were talking about earlier, like on the streets, they don't have any of that shit. So it's like, what do they have?
Yeah.
Like, why not use, kind of the thing. And that's kind of their mentality. But
yeah. And they're completely lost.
Right.
Like short of like their tent cities, like they don't have.
Yeah. And I mean,
they
have that sense of community, but when everybody's using, then it's like, yeah.
Dude, I saw a fucking, so like by our house, like, well, one of the side streets by our house, there's a couple that lives in the car. And it's like in front of this house. I think it's probably like, one of their parents live there. But I was driving home for lunch the other day and I'm like, is that chick naked? And then as I got closer, I was like, holy shit, she's naked in the front yard.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Did you just pull over?
No, I honestly, it was so close to a school.
Oh shit!
That I was like, I should probably call the cops. Like that's fucking nuts. Yeah. And I've seen them like walking up and down the street arguing and shit like that. But it's like, that's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, fuck,
Yeah. So you get through all that. You go down to the rehab. Didn't that place close? Or it got like weird, right?
Yeah, it changed ownerships, and the people that were really cool that owned it when I was there or that ran it, they turned it over to some other people, and yeah, just like their whole, just the way that they ran the program was very different. A lot of people that I knew that were like worked there, that stayed there and lived there, and continued to work on the ranch and everything, ended up leaving just because of how things were being run. And so they kind of got away, I guess, from like the root, purpose of it. So, yeah, but no, then I came back and, basically like went to work right away and started doing all that. Things were going fine a couple of years. And then, dad died obviously in 2013. And, I handled that poorly. And basically, at that time it was like, going through what he was going through, having like hospice at our house and having a counter full of drugs basically, and then having to deal with his death. It was just like, it was just kind of easy for me. But, so just, it was a brief relapse. So then after that carried on for like about a year. And then
That's not that brief, dude.
well, I mean, considering before that, it was like 8 years, so I mean, that's a long fucking time. But, so yeah, I mean, then I went to just like a 10-day detox, and that sucked because like,
that was up here in Sacramento, right?
Yeah, that was, 10 days here, just like a outpatient kind of a whatever. And then there was like no like sober living after that. It was just like, okay, you've detoxed, even though you still feel like shit.
Yeah.
You're free to go.
Best of luck.
Right. And that's kind of how it was. And so but despite those kind of terms or those conditions, I still like, I was able to, and then, mom got remarried and put the house up for sale. And like, I, had nowhere to go. And like in the face of all that, like I still didn't use. And so I, went and moved in with my girlfriend. And then through, I think Bill hooked me up. My brother, Bill, got me a job, cleaning carpets. And, that was terrible working for that guy. But
Isn't
no,
that fool mayor now or some shit?
he was mayor.
God.
But I don't want to go into details about him. But
Do you think that, like you mentioned, like everything kind of started falling apart, the house was going to get sold and all that stuff. Do you think that mentally you were like, this is bad, but if I go back to using, it's going to be a whole lot worse?
I didn't have, I guess it was kind of, I didn't have a choice because I didn't have, at that time, I didn't have anything. Like I was literally going to be living in my car and,
naked in someone's front yard.
yeah, in front of a school. But,
again.
but yeah, so it was just kind of like, I didn't really have a choice kind of a thing. And so, and it's not like I wanted to go back to that. Nobody wants to, be a drug addict or choose, to want to do that. But, I mean, I guess it was just kind of just having routines for me is something that like keeps me, just staying out of my head basically and staying focused on other things. And that's why alternatively, like turning it around and finding a craft and woodworking and a hobby and something to occupy my time and kind of have that outlet, that creative outlet, helps tremendously. That's more therapeutic than any meeting I've ever gone to or anything.
Yeah. Cause you're kind of like, I guess in a way your brain is occupied by something else and you're letting whatever out through that.
Right. And it's obviously a healthy outlet, and it's, people have been very receptive, which helps too, like I'm not just, making popsicle stick forts or anything in my garage, but like, the things that I have made and sold and people have bought and people seem to really like what I do and like my work. And so, I mean, that obviously helps motivate me to want to keep doing it. It's not like, if you, make a bunch of crap that nobody likes and you're not getting positive feedback, that can kind of,
Yeah. And like the uniqueness of a lot of the stuff you do too. It's not like, like something mass produced at Hobby Lobby.
Right. Right. And I mean, that's what's honestly kind of like the biggest challenge is just to be original and come up with new things that, because I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, but if you can not necessarily, copy somebody's design, but find inspiration from their designs or whatever, you see online or Instagram or Pinterest and stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of where I get a lot of, or, YouTube, get a lot of my inspiration from, but, yeah, just being able to kind of stay ahead of the curve and what's going to be like the next big fad kind of thing, like river tables and resin and things like that are kind of big in woodworking now.
I
Like
follow a
the
couple of guys
slabs.
on Instagram, and they do some crazy stuff. It's insane what people can get away get away with, but what they're able to create and come up with. But fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, that's kind of like with doing a podcast, I needed that outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've said before, like I didn't have anything. Like while we were working on the cabin, I had that, but then it was just like, fuck, I'm going crazy. Like
Well,
I don't.
and you, like you said, you had music, you played in bands, you played the drums, you have your drums still, but had just
Played 'em
having, well, so why can't you do, like, why isn't that enough, like playing the drums or barbecuing or things like that? Like, why did you feel like that wasn't enough for you?
I don't think because well, it's not like I can just go home and play the drums for like an hour. Like I don't really want to do that anymore. I don't want to say like
You don't want to,
I'm
or
not
you
really
can't?
into the drums anymore. Like I'll always have them. I'll always play them.
Yeah.
I'm still really good.
Mhm.
Not to like toot my own horn, but like I can just still get up there. But it's just kind of like I think I just did it so much.
Just
I
kinda
just
like-
played them for so fucking long that it's kind of like, yeah, like, okay, yeah, I can still do that.
So can you honestly say that was something that you're passionate about? Because if it's something
Yeah,
that
100%.
But if you're passionate about something, I mean, that's like your love.
Mhm.
Like, how can you say like you're over it?
Well, because your passions, they change.
Yeah,
Right?
I get
Like,
it, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
no,
that's true.
I still constantly like, I mean, whenever I listen to music, I listen to the drums for the most part. But yeah, I mean, shit changes too. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like I was making money or a career out of it or anything like that.
It
It wasn't like,
hobby.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So it wasn't like I was like, I had to keep going for any reason other than the fact I just loved it. But I mean, now with this, I'm like kind of obsessed with this shit. I'm constantly
Yeah.
like,
and this is kind of a new, like, I guess you could say fad or like phase that it's kind of become like a lot of people are sort of getting more into, like a lot of celebrities and people who have YouTube channels and stuff like that are starting to do podcasts and things now. I mean, podcasts have been around for a long time, but I think they're sort of kind of growing a little bit bigger now, I would say.
yeah, no, they're getting more and more advanced because
Right.
they've been around for probably like 12 years, I think. Because I've been listening to them like for that long.
Yeah.
And it just went from like this to.
Well, I think it's becoming more accessible to people too. Like you can do this in your living room, versus, you don't have to have a big studio. Or, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have all this stuff, but you don't necessarily need all this stuff.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I mean, and it's where people go to get their news. It's like people,
I can see that.
I'm going to listen to a podcast over watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't really follow politics. In fact, we had date night Friday night. We went out and
Where'd you go?
dude, it got fucking weird. So we went to dinner and then we went to like a little bar next door. And I was talking to Katie about politics. She's super like passionate about politics.
Yeah.
She's super liberal. Like it's like, okay, I know where you lie. Like I don't, yeah.
I met her.
I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Trump sucks. Like he's fucking insane. But we were talking about voting, and I mean, this might give me some shit, but I don't vote. I think it's, and she got furious, and she's like, "You didn't even vote in the last election." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, because I didn't want either one of those fucking criminals."
Yeah, right.
Like they're both terrible. And then she was like, "Well, justify it." And I'm like, no, fuck you. Like it's my right as an American. Like I don't have to vote.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool. It's like going into an ice cream place and being like, I want Rocky Road. They're like, no, all we got is tuna and like pastrami. And you're like, I don't want either one of those things. They're like, we got to pick one.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm
Right.
not. I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna. If I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it. And that's what it was. Like Hillary Clinton sucks. She's super shady. And then Trump is just a psycho.
Right.
But
And not only that, like what gets me is like, I'm not super political either, but like this whole like electoral college shit. And like, I mean, it's not like it comes down to they're counting, you know, like each individual vote. I mean, yeah, they do, but I don't know. It just like, I don't understand how like a lot of like, it just depends on like how many, you know, people in your state, you know, how many Republicans and Democrats there are. And that's, you know, what determines, you know, who wins in that state. Like, I don't know. It's just,
So
it sucks. It's just, it's a convoluted system anyways. I believe.
I registered Democrat or no, Republican just to fuck with her. So I'm a registered Republican just to fuck with her.
So when you told your therapist, yeah, I'm the problem, then yeah, I guess it was.
Well, that was true. I did that just to be funny. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so we're talking about it, and she goes, "All right, can I ask you a question then?" And I said, "Sure." She goes, "Can I have your vote?" And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Can I use your ballot?"
Is she gonna run? Oh,
like, can I have your voting ballot? And I'll fill it out
twice.
And I'm like, that's voter fraud.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, we'll do it together. And I was like, no,
it
doesn't
any
work
better.
that way. Like, so I was like, I don't.
Here, hold my hand while I pull the trigger on this gun.
Yeah.
We'll do it together.
So I was like, I don't want any part of your voter fraud.
Yeah.
Shit. Get that out of here. So, but yeah, that night it got weird. It was actually fun. We had a babysitter and we had kind of like a time limit. So it wasn't kind of like.
Was it just date night because it was Valentine's, or is it just something you do weekly?
Not Valentine. We don't do like Valentine shit.
Yeah.
But we're trying to do it more. It's like self-care. So like I'll come to a podcast. That's like my self-care. Or I'll go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Which, dude, fucking she told me, she's like, go sign up for the gym. Get us a membership. Because the one we go to had like, it was like $10 a month, like new year, new me type shit.
Yeah.
And so I go and I fill out all this stuff. And then I come home and she's like, oh, did they give you the little fob thing for your keychain? I was like, yeah, they gave me this one. She goes, only one? I was like, yeah. And she goes, oh, I think you just signed yourself up. And I was like, no, I did. Like, I told them. And they're like, she's like, no, it would have been $20 if it was both of us. So I just, but going to the gym's weird, man. Without fail, there's always somebody there in jeans working out. I've been like 4 or 5 times now, and every time I'm just like, oh, yep, there's the weirdo running on the elliptical in jeans. But oh yeah, so we go to leave and we call an Uber, and so the guy picks us up and he drives out and he's trying to turn into one of the turning lanes and he turns into a one-way.
Okay.
And then we're like, whoa, hey man, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he backs up and he is now perpendicular. Like his car is blocking multiple lanes.
Jesus.
On Fair Oaks Boulevard right up here. And at this point, Katie's like, get me out of this fucking car, like yelling at the dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey man, like what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And cars are coming. So, and they're slowing down, but they're slowing down fast. Like people are hitting their brakes.
Uh-huh.
And then this fucking dude drives over the median into the McDonald's parking lot. And Katie just gets out. She's like, fuck you. And I'm like, what the fuck was that, man?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? It's fine. No, I was trying to turn around. And I was like, dude, whatever. Just slam the door. I got my $6 back from Uber.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, there you go.
And they gave me $5.
What rating did you give the guy?
I can't rate the guy because I canceled the trip.
Oh.
I canceled the trip while we were in the car with him.
Oh, okay.
And literally we got out, told the guy to fuck off. He was super confused. And then I ordered
Have
another
you ever driven
one.
a car before?
It really was like, it was nuts, dude. And like, that's a pretty busy street to be like backing up on and doing crazy shit. And then, yeah, like within like 5 minutes, I'd already filed my complaint and stuff. And then we get picked up again. We go on the other Uber. We're going home, and our Uber driver was super cool, but he goes, "Hey, do you guys go to church?" And Katie goes, "Nah, fuck that shit." And he's like, "Oh, well, I go to a really nice church out in West Sac. And, I was just, I do stuff there. So if you guys are ever looking for a church," and we're like, "Nah, we're good, man."
Yeah.
I think then they started talking about like a Unitarian church, because Katie wants to go to a Unitarian church.
And what is that exactly?
From what I understand and what I've been told, by someone that went, it's more of like, they said it was like a lot of social justice stuff, but then it's like, hey, just be nice to everybody. I'm like, I don't need to go to church to know
Just
that.
Just kind of like golden rule type shit.
Yeah,
do unto
which
others.
Is fine.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you need to be told that every week. Then.
So, that kind of spiraled out of control. But yeah. So anyway, we'll get back to like, you get through the addiction, you do all that stuff, and then you start the woodworking.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing the carpet cleaning for the mayor, I just, I've always enjoyed like building stuff, like working with my hands, or taking things of seeing how things work and tinkering and things like that. I just was kind of doing things just as a hobby, like making little knick-knacky home decor type stuff that, my girlfriend at the time would ask me to make or build. And she'd asked me to make this patio table, like kind of just this rustic, like back at that time, like pallet furniture and things like that were kind of big. And so I made this patio table, or like a little, I don't know, just like a little skinny table out of pallets. And that really kind of just like sparked the fire under me to just like be like, wow, I really enjoy this. Like I just remember, milling down the lumber and, cutting the pallet up and, taking all the nails out and doing all that. I mean, yeah, it sucked. It was labor. It was, hard work, but I just remember really like enjoying like putting something together, making something useful, and seeing your kind of creation, at the end once it was done. And I mean, I still have the table. It's a shitty table, but just that sort of satisfaction from that was like, okay, I really enjoy this. I'll look into it a little more. And so progressed from there, just, reading, getting books and watching, Roy Underhill, like on, PBS and, his woodworking shop and things like that. And YouTube and things like that was really big. Watched like the Wood Whisperer and David Picciuto just really started just getting into it and buying more tools and, going to yard sales and, finding stuff cheap and, got a table saw. And at first, we just had a single car garage back at our old house. And I would have to like back the car out to, put my saw up and start, working and doing things like that. And it was fun. And it was, it was something I really enjoyed. And then, people started, asking me if I could make them things. And from there, then we moved back to our childhood home. We got the opportunity to rent that out. And obviously behind the house, there's a external garage for those who don't know, and was able to turn that into my shop. And once I kind of got on a little bit larger scale as far as like making things for people, I got into it with my boss one day and basically told him to go fuck himself. And and then Pete's Shop Makes started. And so that was kind of the beginning of it.
Yeah, I get people really like those lamps that you made.
The pipe lamps?
Yeah. People are always like, "Oh, where'd you buy that?" Like, I didn't buy it. I had it made. So what's the biggest project that you've taken on?
Just recently,
I did. I've made like I've done casework like nightstands, bookshelves. You know, I built Louis that kind of like built-in looking bookshelf thing for his office. That was pretty big.
Yeah.
But just recently, I did a bed set, like a bed and dresser, and that was pretty.
Like a bed frame.
Yeah, like
Oh, wow.
like actual like a king size bed.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so that was like, and honestly, beds really aren't that difficult to make, but I just like the combination with the two. Like if you're meaning like the biggest thing, like as far as like how long it took me, or like size.
Yeah, I guess like the biggest build, like the longest.
Yeah, I would say probably that was like, you know, like doing the dresser and things like that. I think that took the longest. That was a few weeks, because and that's why I'm kind of now starting to you know, like you've heard you hear the term like jack of all trades kind of thing, master of none. I would kind of put myself in that class. Like I sort of, you know, spread myself to all mediums. Like I, you know, do metal work or, you know, lamp work, and it's not just woodworking that, you know, I'm involved in. And doing things on the lathe, like, you know, turning bowls and things like that, that's becoming kind of more, like what I do when I get off work. Like that's like, sort of now like how I wind down, because there's something so satisfying about like starting a project from start to finish and being done in an hour versus making like a table, which takes you 3 weeks,
Yeah,
you know, or whatever.
Probably over it by the time.
Yeah. And that's, you just want to see that project done and gone, you know, by that time, and you're kind of over it. And that's like, back after the first of the year, I found myself kind of in this little funk, like going out to the shop and just being like, not feeling like creatively like motivated, or like just not having the drive to even really want to do anything. And it was just kind of like I kind of dreaded being out there. But there's something about like reorganizing your shop or doing shop projects that kind of like re-spark that like, you know, creative interest, and you kind of want to just, you know, start making things again. But for me, if I'm not doing customer projects, then yeah, I'm either like just building like shit for myself, or, you know, stuff that I need around my house or whatever. So
yeah, I don't think you really like when it comes to like making, like I don't really, you kind of almost take some of that stuff for granted. Where like you said that you built the dresser, and I was like, oh, I never really even thought about it. Like, yeah, somebody's got to build a dresser.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's nowadays, obviously, you know, you go to IKEA and all that stuff's mass produced or whatever, and it's all made out of particle board, and it's crap, and it'll last you a year or whatever. But there's something about like making something like an heirloom piece that's gonna fucking last years, or, you know, be in somebody's family for years. You know, like there's something about that, you know, is also gratifying, you know, to know that,
sure, man,
you know, your craftsmanship is gonna surpass you, you know, and like that's really what kind of also motivates me to want to like better my skills, and to, you know, not just be making, you know, junk that nobody wants, or that's, you know, going to be put to the wayside. So yeah,
I mean, yeah, I guess that's just passing it down and having good quality products with, you know, and then, you know, you just get the reputation going and
right,
all that stuff. So, but we're gonna have to get out of here because Nate's gotta go do some stuff. So
okay.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like we could have gone a whole another hour.
Yeah, no, that went by quick, man.
Yeah, that's kind of it does really go by quick. So yeah, we'll do it again for sure. Where can people find you?
You can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all at Pete's Shops Makes.
Shops?
Pete's Shop Makes.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So, all right, man. What are you doing after this?
I don't know.
You want to come by the house?
I'm down. Or
Okay.
have you eaten?
Did I eat? I don't know, man. I don't want to be hungover for these things anymore. It's too hard to think. I think I ate. Yeah, I ate.
Okay.
I had a Greek salad.
All right.
Not a Greek salad, like Greek salad stuff. I don't know what it was. And a bagel. So, all right, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'll have you back on again for sure.
Cool.
So, all right, dude.